Just days before Barcelona, the F1 world got flipped upside down. McLaren, dominant in Miami, nearly flawless in Monaco, suddenly lost their magic at Imola. And guess what? It happened right after the FIA dropped 2 secret technical directives. Coincidence? Not a chance. The paddock is buzzing, and the whispers say McLaren just got clipped. Hard. Something smelled off at Imola, and it wasn't tire smoke. Just one race after McLaren looked unbeatable, the orange rocket suddenly went limp, fading into the midfield shadows while Red Bull surged back to the top. And it all happened right after the FIA quietly slid 2 technical directives under the door like a hotel bill no one wanted to pay. No announcement, no press conference, just boom, new rules. And suddenly the competitive balance took a nosedive. If you think that's a coincidence, you're either naive or in denial. First came the crackdown on skid blocks. Those little planks under the car that, until now, were being manipulated in a very sneaky way. Some teams allegedly were using materials that flexed or wore down during the race, but still passed post-race checks. It's a clever trick. Run lower, gain downforce, win races, and never get caught. Until now. The FIA finally said, enough, and tightened the noose. Random checks, zero flex, no more degradation loopholes. Anyone playing fast and loose with materials had to clean up fast. The second directive was even juicier. A full-on ban of indirect or exotic tire cooling methods. That means no more vapor systems, no phase change chemicals, no thermal buffering magic in the wheel hubs. Only airflow generated by the car's movement is allowed now. The target? Allegedly McLaren. Because their tire temps, especially the rears, stayed suspiciously perfect through chaos and degradation while everyone else slid around like amateurs. Red Bull noticed. They'd been watching. They even used thermal cameras during the Miami GP to gather evidence. And now? Now the FIA swoops in like Batman, and McLaren's advantage just disappears. At Imola, the timing was too perfect. Oscar Piastri landed pole but couldn't hold it beyond turn 1. His pace evaporated, and the balance that once made the MCL 38 a dream to drive? Gone. Lando Norris, usually a podium lock, suddenly struggled just to stay relevant. Their tire degradation, once an asset, was now a liability. Everything that made them fast 2 weeks ago looked like a distant memory. And just like that, McLaren's grip on the season slipped. Quietly, but visibly. And who stepped in to take over? Max freaking Verstappen. The Dutchman dominated Imola like it was 2021 again. The RB21 looked planted, poised, and terrifyingly efficient through every corner. Gone were the balance issues, the twitchy rears, the "we're not quite there" excuses. Christian Horner brushed off any talk of regulation impact, claiming Red Bull had simply found their rhythm. Sure, Christian, that rhythm just happened to drop right when McLaren's tempo crashed. Helmut Marko, as usual, was less diplomatic. The changes helped, he smirked. Let's not pretend they didn't. The paddock took notice. Conversations behind hospitality tents turned sharp. Engineers whispered about materials, simulations, and gray areas getting closed. It wasn't just McLaren who felt the heat. Multiple teams who'd been tiptoeing on regulatory boundaries suddenly looked exposed. But McLaren, they looked stripped. And it's not over. Because just as the dust settled from Imola, the FIA prepped their next scalpel. This time aimed at flexi-wings. Yep, those bendy little aerodynamic cheats that offer straight-line speed without sacrificing corner grip. The new limit, 10mm flex, down from 15. And who's in the crosshairs again? You guessed it, McLaren. Their innovative front-wing design had already raised eyebrows in simulator communities and sparked rumors that they'd found something no one else did. Now the FIA wants it gone, or at least locked down. Heading into Barcelona, McLaren is facing a new reality. They're no longer just battling Red Bull on track. They're fighting a war of perception, legality, and survival. Because in F1, success is fragile, and nothing invites suspicion like sudden dominance. Their response? Denial. Publicly, they're calm. The car's legal, they say. The rules didn't change, just clarified. But no one's buying it. The timing is too sharp, the fallout too real. Inside the team, pressure is mounting. Oscar Piastri might have the poles, but Lando Norris is the one quietly stacking points and outperforming when it matters. That's a recipe for internal tension. Do they double down on the golden boy who cracks under pressure, or shift momentum to the consistent finisher? If a title run is on the line, someone at McLaren's going to have to make that call soon. And Red Bull? They're smiling. This is their turf. Regulation resets, drama, accusations. They live in this chaos. They've survived fuel flow clampdowns, cost cap investigations, floor height bans, and won anyway. Now they see McLaren wobbling and they smell blood. Max is back in control. The car feels right. The momentum is swinging. And let's not forget, Barcelona is just the beginning. The FIA is watching everything now. More technical directives are rumored to be coming, targeting DRS activation patterns, rear wing stalling techniques, and even floor edge vibration dampers. Every little innovation is under the microscope. If you've built your advantage on a loophole, it's only a matter of time. So where does that leave McLaren? Cornered. They can either adapt and prove they weren't riding the edge, or collapse under the pressure. Because if Imola was a one-off dip, that's survivable. But if it's a trend, that's a death sentence in a championship this tight. They need to show up in Barcelona and fight back. Not with PR statements, not with finger pointing, but with raw, clean pace. Because the paddock isn't patient, and the internet is ruthless. This season is no longer just about who's fastest. It's about who can stay fastest when the rules shift, who can innovate within the lines, not just around them, and who can survive the psychological warfare that happens off the track as much as on it. McLaren thought they had it all figured out, but Formula One doesn't reward confidence, it rewards resilience. So now we wait. Will McLaren bounce back in Barcelona and silence the critics? Or will Red Bull double down, turning a moment of chaos into a full-blown comeback? One thing's for sure, this isn't racing anymore, it's chess. And McLaren just lost a queen. Drop your hot take in the comments below. Was Imola proof McLaren were playing dirty, or just unlucky timing? And if you're addicted to the behind-the-scenes drama like we are, hit that next video, because in the world of F1, what happens off track is just as explosive as what happens on it.